Preston Hardison is a policy analyst with Tebtebba, an organisation advocating on behalf of Indigenous people. Really appreciate your time, Preston. Now, as we just heard, biopiracy is a big part of this framework. Explain for us in more detail what biopiracy is.
Yes, well, prior to 1992, when the Convention on Biological Diversity was signed, genetic resources, or the heredity of all plants and animals and species, was the common heritage of humankind. The Global South and others were concerned that the Global North and industrialized nations were taking this free material and developing products, and there was no benefits being shared with the Global South and others. So when the convention was passed, the genetic resources became the sovereign property of the different nation states of the world. So yes.
Can you give us some examples of firms or products that are profiting from these resources?
Well, for example, there are the many products. One of the famous examples is vincristin that was developed from a primrose plant. It's an anti-cancer agent. So pharmaceutical companies were making a lot of money on vincristin, but Madagascar, from where it came from, was not receiving any of the benefits of those sales.
A major sticking point at COP15 is updating the framework to include the use of genetic data in digital form. How might this framework include a way to fairly share the benefits from recent scientific advances, which will, of course, lead to more countries, particularly in Africa, to take part in the framework?
Yes, so we passed a whole treaty underneath this convention called the Nagoya Protocol that was supposed to bring benefits on and under something called access and benefit sharing. Unfortunately, access and benefit sharing has not brought a lot of benefits to developing countries. Now, the technology of genetic research has also advanced, in which the companies are now making exact copies of genetic material, but represented in digital form, and that is what digital sequence information is. It's just a representation of the sequence of genes on a genome.
The idea has been floated of creating a global system to collect a levy on retail prices of biodiversity-related products to support biodiversity conservation. Do you think a levy is the way forward?
Well, we're still working on the mechanism of how to raise money, the exact mechanism, but it is possible that if we do put some kind of levy on commercial products or commercial sales that use digital sequence information, we could actually raise billions of dollars per year that would go for conservation, sustainable development, and the equitable sharing of benefits to all nations and to Indigenous peoples and local communities.
All right, Preston Hardison, policy analyst with Tebtebba. Thank you very much for breaking all of that down for us.